John McCain and Barack Obama. In a Wall Street Journal editorial, he paints the current Fannie Mae Freddie Mac crisis as an opportunity for both candidates to distinguish themselves on the key issue of the economy. More importantly, he thinks the rewards could be huge. The first candidate to endorse an effective policy may just capture the election. And for more analysis, we now continue with Karl Rove. Has John McCain even articulated a vision on the economy?
Sure he has. Prosperity through lower taxes, less spending, less regulation, more trade liberalization, by retraining, helping retrain people in struggling states and economies where the jobs are going away.
Same thing Obama said.
Well, I'm not certain that when it gets down to lower taxes, less government, no earmarks, liberalized trade agreements, that I've heard that from Senator
Lower
Obama.
taxes for everybody who is not making $250 a year or more, but and no taxes for people 50 grand. Go ahead.
Alan, you've got a good point there. There is a difference between Senator Obama and Senator McCain. Senator Obama believes that the government ought to be able to take as much as it thinks it needs from anybody. Senator McCain believes there ought to be a limit to how much the government can take from anybody. And he believes, let me finish, he believes that today with the federal tax rate at 35%, that's more than the government ought to be taken from any individual, regardless of how much they make.
But Obama doesn't believe that. He would lower taxes for the middle class. He would have no taxes for the elderly who make $50,000 or less.
No. He wants to raise the upper tax rate from 35% to 39%, which means that people would be paying 39% federal income tax, 14% Social Security tax, and 2% Medicare tax, which means they'd be paying over half of their paycheck in taxes to the federal government. That's not counting state and local taxes, including
only
sales
if you make over
taxes.
A certain amount, you reach that higher bracket.
Alan, in America, we believe there ought to be limits on government. We believe that the government that can take everything from somebody can take everything from everybody.
But it's not everything from everybody. That's not his plan, Carl, and you know that's not his tax plan. You people on the right keep saying he's going to raise taxes as if he's going to do it for everybody.
Alan, I've just outlined his plan that he's in favor of. He wants the top bracket to be, which is today 35, when in 2010 to 2011, he wants that tax cut to expire and that bracket to go to 39%. It's right today the Social Security tax is 7% on the individual side, 7% from the employer. That's 14% tax. He wants to raise that so that everybody pays that up to $102,000 a year, and then again from $250,000 up. So that's another 14% tax, and there's a 2% Medicare tax on top of that. That's his plan.
And let me add to that. He would eliminate the Bush tax cuts. Families of four making $50,000 a year. They were saving $2,500 a year themselves. FICA tax, as you point out, capital gains he's going to double. The top rates he's going to raise. Windfall
estate
profit
tax,
corporate taxes.
Yeah, and the family of making a tax cut today of $2,500, he says he's going to give them back $1,000 of the $2,500 he's going to collect. It'll be a net tax increase of $1,500. But Alan, again, there's a difference. I grant you we can argue about the details all day long, but there's a big difference between these men. One of them says there ought to be a limit to how much the government takes from any one individual, and the other one says, look, the more you make, the higher the percentage it ought to be. And look, most Americans, the Tax Foundation does an annual study. 71% of the American people think that the federal government should take no more than 20% of anybody's paycheck, no matter how much they make. Carl. And today we're taking 35%.
And it would be up, as you say, around the 50% range.
Well, 39 income tax, 14 Social Security, 2% Medicare.
And then state, local, federal on top of all of that. All right, Carl, let me ask you, I've been saying all week on this program that, and most Americans are angry over the high price of gasoline. I've used the term, I think this is a clear and present danger to the United States. I've said it all week. I believe that we are on the verge, potentially, of an energy war, especially with political instability in the Middle East. And Nancy Pelosi said they're not going to have a vote on whether or not we can have offshore drilling or exploration. Barack Obama says no nukes, no coal mining, and no refining, no drilling. So my question is, can this become the or a big defining issue in the campaign?
Oh, yeah. Look, on the domestic front, I think there are going to be spending is going to be a big issue, taxes a big issue, energy bigger than both of them, and housing is going to be a big issue as well. Hence my op-ed today in the Wall Street Journal.
Well, and by the way, I read them all the time, and they're very well put together. Karl Rove, the architect.